Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Undefeated podcast.
The only podcast with two undefeated fighters, fam.
Chatting it up.
Come on.
Bro, let me just say this, yeah? Just to anyone listening to this for the first time, congratulations, you've arrived. This is where we are at our peak, yeah? And then AJ fight week. I'm going to be very clear. We are AJ fans, yeah?
100%.
In this week particularly, undiluted fact. So, you know, if you want AJ to win on Saturday, oh, you're in the right place. If you want Usyk to win on Saturday, you're also in the right place because your guy is going up against our guy. So you can embellish the fact that we still believe, regardless of what happened in the first fight.
Yeah.
So let's crack on with this content because I'm very excited, bro.
Listen, and we're gonna crack on, and there's a lot of things to be said in this moment, in this lead up. I kind of let off the clip early, and I was going to let it off on the pod, but I will let off again on things that I've been disgruntled with or things that have been upsetting my spirit a little bit. But bro, we need to, because people don't know who they're talking to right now. They don't know that you're undefeated. They don't know I'm undefeated. The only way they know is when we give them the tail of the tape, fam.
Bro, what's your tail of the tape, man? Talk to them.
Come on, fam. Listen, my record is a mad thing right now. I'm 0-0, fam. Never fought, never lost. If I did, someone gets knocked out and it's not me, Lennox. But you have to understand, you have to understand how deep this thing is. I told you the weight is right now. The weight is no longer fluctuating, fam. It's correct right now. Yoga's still going. Shout out Cassandra, getting me right, fam. Things are going well. What I'm saying is the speed is speeding right now. That's why, like, you blinked, bro. I've done a lot. Big man. Big man. I've sorted out my whole career. Next time, when you're blinking, I sorted out my whole career, fam. Everything sorted out. IMDb. Go and look it up. Look it up now. You'll see a picture. Come on. You know what it is.
I respect you, bro.
This is what I do, fam. But anyway, yeah. Listen, enough about me. I don't want to brag. I'm just telling the truth in it and giving facts. What about you, bro? What's the tail of the tape?
My tail of the tape. Listen, my record's a perfect one. Yeah. Been in the ring couple times. Couple of occasions. Won both times. Yeah. 2-0. I boast a 50% knockout rate. You know what that means, bro? Half the men that entered the ring with me, the squared circle, they left on their back, fam.
Yes, they did.
Helicopter journey for the checkup. You understand? Luckily, everybody was okay. Now, let's talk about the stats. Height. Boy, I stand there. I'm officially listed as taller than KG. That's what it says on the stats. Weight. I've made weight for any division required. That's where I'm at right now. So I can literally, from minimum weight right up to super heavy, bro. I am good to go. Say my name.
He said, say my name. Destiny Child setting, bro.
Candyman, fam. Candyman, bro. 3 times. There I am. It's nuts. Reach. Endless. Literally, it says endless on the stats, bro. Dalsim.
That's you, Yoga.
But listen,
I respect your thing.
Let's get out of the way.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
All right, I'm ready, bro. Fight week, it's here. We are here. AJ versus Usyk. This is the week we've been waiting for. This is the week of boxing fans. Again, yes, has the lead up been terrible? Has the lead up been shocking? Agreed. But there's something about fight week that everything just changes. The energy is a shift. There's a shift that's happened. And I'm telling you right now, yeah, that boxing comes alive. When the heavyweights get busy, we're all excited. We got some heavyweights on the undercard, but we're talking about the heavyweight that matters. We're talking about the guy that's breathed life into this division. We weren't talking about the heavyweights, and there's one man, yeah, and that guy's name is AJ, bro, and he's getting it done in the dunes, bro. Right now, can he do it 3 times? Can he go back and reclaim what's rightfully his? Can he do it against Usyk? And let's talk about this Usyk thing as well, because people be playing with Usyk's name. People think, like, Usyk ain't got a lot to fight for. Usyk's fighting for a whole nation. This is why this fight's so big right now. That fight is free to air in Ukraine. Now, they're getting through a lot, but they're gonna stop and watch this one. They're gonna be tuning in, and they need him to win. It's gonna be a beacon. for them lot. It will feel like that. And he's taking that weight on his shoulders happily, gladly. This is the same man that we saw walked into the into Tottenham's ground, yeah, where they were booing him. They were booing his national anthem. Nothing. Didn't shake him at all. This man said, I've come to do something here. Had the visor down and he just walked straight in there. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we call a mentality monster. These men have to meet in the middle of the ring and someone goes home with those belts, bro. This fight is exciting. Sorry to sell it. It doesn't need to be sold anymore, but I hope you understand what's going on right now.
Bro, listen, when the heavyweight titles move, boxing moves straight like that. That's why it's felt so underwhelming, the fact that we've got this giant event taking place and we're not going mad. But it's a sign of the times that there's so many other moving parts in boxing now that you can get caught in the middle of politics and it can kill your fight rollout. That's what's happening.
I'll check what you mean by the sign of times, but you're absolutely correct on that. In terms of the politics of boxing, is trying to derail something that should be so amazing. Again, right. AJ hasn't taken. AJ could have taken another fight before this. He could have taken a step aside to get himself, tune himself up. This guy showed bravery. Again, you know, I talk about AJ's. I'm always worried about AJ's mentality at times. You know, I'm like, AJ, man, come on, bro. And right now, the mentality is correct. He went in there. He's done something that I would have said. I would have. If I was talking to AJ, I probably would have advised him against it. I would say, you know what? We need to work on our boxing. We need to get more. We need to just level up so we can go in, because everyone else can do it. Fury will go and have a free warm-up fight.
The game is too volatile for that type of decision making. That's it.
Yeah. But no, you have to praise the move, though. What I'm talking about is praising the move and praising the bravery, because I've heard that this is the only platform that believes that AJ is going to win this rematch.
Boy, that's fine by me, bro. You know me, I don't need much to stand out on the ledge by myself. You know what I mean? So for me, I never care about those type of stats. For me, it's like, I know what I'm looking at in terms of, let's not pretend. I remember I stood against the win when I called Anthony Yard and Lyndon Arthur as well. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? There's some times when you can see that, okay, you didn't beat the full version of this man. And as much as people jump on it when I say Yard and Arthur is quite a similar scenario to this. This is exactly the same. Like, you didn't beat the version of the guy who he normally is. You beat another thing that he was trying to do that night. Congratulations. It doesn't take anything away from the win. But in the rematch, you have to prepare for a completely different version of this guy. So for me, I've always it's that reason why I still say with confidence I predict AJ. If AJ went in there with bombs away and he backed it and knocked him out, I'd be like, hey, I don't know how this thing's gonna go.
Can I see that I hear the Yard and the Yard Arthur comparisons, right? But my issue with that is Lyndon was the same Lyndon that got pushed back, and he weren't, even though he won the belt, he was moved to the back. He was that Lyndon in the fight. He was moved. He was gonna go wherever Yard told him he would have to go physically in that fight, is what I'm saying. Now the difference with Usyk is you can't just you can't manhandle him, or you can't.
No.
He's gonna go there with bravery, is what I'm talking about. There was I don't want to call, because anyone that walks into the ring is brave, but I'm talking about he went with the flow of the thing, that how whatever Yard decided, he went with the flow of it. But now in this fight, I don't think Usyk's gonna go with the flow of what AJ's saying, is the point that I'm pushing back.
What happened in the second fight with Yard and Arthur is that he came out expecting Yard to go bombs away and try to match it, and immediately it was a no contest. Now, if he came out and tried to implement the same game plan from the first fight, we don't know how that would have looked, because Yard has to now get past the jab and then let the bombs go. Either way, that fight is the story is told.
Yes. This
fight, Usyk has heard this talk. It's not like a secret. He's heard man's going out. AJ's going to come forward. He's going to be more aggressive. Garcia's saying, yeah, the mindset. He knows AJ's coming to walk me down. It's now down to how he reacts to that information. Because he could be like, yeah, I'm just going to do the same thing I did before. It's a great, nice and refined thing. I'm a refined fighter. It's going to work out just fine. Or he goes, you want to walk me down? Are you mad? I'll walk you down. Now we're seeing him bulking up all these other things. That is when things start to get a little bit interesting, because if you want to make a statement, stopping AJ is your statement.
Oh,
AJ tried to make a statement by saying I could outbox the wizard. It didn't work out. So now he's saying, all right, forget all that. I'm gonna do my thing. Usyk can now be saying, now I'm gonna knock you out and make the statement. And if he does, the odds they stack nicely in AJ's favor. That's how I feel about this thing. And that's why I say that it's the remnants for Lyndon Arthur and Yard. It's the same. It's just not. I'm not putting it on the fighters. I'm not saying that Usyk and Arthur are the same brother. No way. That's not what I'm going with this.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. I'm rocking with you on that statement. I just feel like we haven't, and this is the pod, right? So we can just talk. I feel like we haven't considered Usyk all the way. Like I don't need to say it over and over again. You lot know where I am in this AJ, but for the hope of this conversation, Usyk is a dangerous individual, right? I went back and I watched the fight, and I looked at the things that were great from AJ, or not too great, like somewhat it was meaty. It was a meaty performance from AJ throughout for me. But then I could see where he had success, right? But then there was the moments of when AJ was being manhandled, and we have to say each time Usyk has come out at heavyweight, he has improved. That's the thing, you know. When we're talking about Conor Benn recently, you was talking about Conor's got better fight by fight. Well, the same is true with Usyk. In this division, he has improved, even if it's gradual, small increments of improvement. The improvement is there. So we can't throw that away. Then after you talk about, well, if you're only as good as your last fight, in that final round was so telling. Even how AJ reacted to it, how it ended, and how AJ looked, body language, everything you want to look at, just said. AJ was happy to hear that bell. He is happy to get that out, you know? So it's like, I don't know how this fight is here, like it's in a few days, and we're throwing that all away because we said, yes, we didn't have the real AJ. But I don't know how we're doing that.
So let me try and put another spin. Bear in mind it's a little theory. Let me try and put another take on that, right? You know when... I don't know if you've been in this situation. I don't know if entertainment would have brought this type of experience. I've experienced this before, where you're in the middle of something, and it's like it might be a performance of some kind. You're in the middle of it, and you just know it's all wrong.
Oh,
you know that it's all wrong. It's all wrong. I'm on stage. I'm doing this thing, and it sounded like it was going to work, and now I'm here. It's all wrong. I'm in the midst of this, and I don't know how to fix it because I've spent my whole time thinking that was going to work, and now my mind is locked into it.
Yeah.
When you get to the end of the set, I don't know about you. That's my time, and I cannot wait to get out of the building because I know I can do this better than this.
Yeah.
But right now I'm in this thing. So when I see AJ at the end of that, it's just like, get me out of here. But I fucked it. Do you understand? It's that one. So for me, I look at it and I'm like, I can see the energy there where it's like, I'm all over the place. The game plan is terrible. This brother's doing what he wants. I'm not even really in a way where I can lock in and engage and give
like me in this set. I don't even feel like me. The way I'm walking, the way I'm moving on the stage is not correct. I understand. Yep.
So when the fight finishes now, he doesn't mince his words. My team are chatting madness to me in the corner. They're chatting madness to me in the corner. The game plan was nuts. The game plan for my man, I don't know what the game plan was. Like at this point, I'm throwing everything all over the place. Now, for me, I look at it and I'm like, AJ is not the type to typically throw and kind of, mention whose fault this thing was. But if AJ is breaking his down logically, he says, how did we end up with this game plan? Because let's be real, Mike Tyson goes to his trainer and says, I want to outbox and pot shot this guy. I want to beat him over 12 rounds. I want to really go to work and put on a masterclass. Any trainer worth his salt is supposed to step right to him and say, listen, that's not who you are, Mike. You ain't, that ain't it. So after you go through that performance, you sit down and you say, Do I have the relationship with my trainer that I think I do? Where we're two people that can talk like this, or have I become this now and you're just this underneath here? In which case, you don't have my respect anymore and you have to go. Because whilst it was my decision to try and outbox this brother, it shouldn't have got past you.
It's never happened.
Because it's clear, AJ, the way AJ's come up, very obedient trainer, very obedient fighter. I listen to what my corner tell me. I believe.
And just to jump in, let me jump into that, yeah. And it's worked. The obedience has worked because it's helped him. So every time he's listened, he's won titles. So it's not like, you know, when you say obedient fighter, it can almost sound like it's, and I know you weren't giving it as a negative, but it can almost it's like, no, I listen, and every time I've listened to them, I've had success. However, this moment here, this moment here, I've come back and I've said, hey guys, this is my idea. I want to fight it like this. And it's something in the chain of how we've done things before has changed, because we all said,
because let's go back to the Ruiz fight, yeah?
Yeah.
Lost that fight, and I believe the system, and we won the rematch. But in this one, in defeat, he knows this is different. There's no moment that happened backstage. I wasn't glazed. I was zoned in as much as I thought I was. And throughout all of it, you men were telling me, great job, AJ. Amazing, AJ. So when I watched the highlights back, and I'm like, this was a horrendous job. I'm looking bad every single part of this, and you're telling me well done.
We have to look at the Ruiz one different, right? There's gonna be one day where we get the truth of Ruiz and what's going on with, and that's only gonna come in a book by his dad, AJ's dad, or by AJ himself, right? Something happened, and that's why he was never, the Ruiz one wasn't, it's mad. You know, we said to ourselves before, was like, Ruiz hurt AJ so bad. He knocked him on the floor so many times. Has AJ got the mental, because he's going to remember those hits, right? But AJ said to himself, he wasn't worried about Ruiz, because what he knew in himself, in his heart, is something was wrong. Outside of whatever we want to say, no matter what, because something was wrong. That's guaranteed not me. In this thing, it's a different voice, because he wouldn't have, in that case, he would have left Rob at that moment and gone the trainer search. What he knows in this moment is, no, I fought someone that was skilled, talented, and what the tools that I thought I had in my shed, these ain't tools, or they're just blunt. They're not the same as how they used to be. So right now, I'm going to look for something that is best suited to who I am, the fighter now, because as you said, we've all ascended, we've all gone up to a greater level. They haven't come with me, unfortunately. Them man haven't come with me and I don't know if it's a thing where you just don't know how to tell me anymore, or like, but something's wrong with
either way, this relationship ain't the relationship I thought we had. Yeah. So it's like, when you sit down now and you're not so caught up in the sweet science, you're not so caught up in trying to prove a point and you sit there and you think, we should never have gone with that game plan.
Never.
And that is the point where he started to look at the team and say that. And I'm not glad that McCracken was made to probably feel like it was his fault. They've had a good relationship, great journey, and he's done really well by AJ. But at the same time, I'm glad that this change took place. I've wanted this change for a few fights back. I wanted this before just after the Ruiz one, when I was like, okay, it's time now. You got through the Ruiz rematch. In the prelim thing, it looked a certain way, but there's something missing still. It's time.
So I see it like this, right? We've all seen these breakup movies, right? And there's so many, right? And there's a moment when the couple needs to break up, but they still try to work at things, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is, they put in Angel, right? And Angel was a voice that came into this. It's almost like Angel almost was like the friend that's giving advice, but this voice has never been involved in our relationship before. It's
and
never,
now you've got a role.
But not only does it have a voice, it has a voice on the main night. And McCracken, unfortunately, because of it, he should have said something earlier. So when you look at these breakup beats, he should have spoke earlier and said, "Hey,
get out of control.
Hey, I don't like that." And he didn't. So unfortunately, the power, everything was wrong on the night. Now all the breakdown of how their relationship was, it just happened to, we see the whole fruit of it on the night where you had so many different voices. You're doing well, AJ. AJ, I think you should do this. And then after someone, the worst case is when you're done. So when Rob's sitting in there, because Rob's still a good trainer, I do believe that. Rob's in there saying, what's the point? There's no point me talking because you're not going to listen. When he's there, that person can't be around anymore.
That's right. Yeah, the energy is different.
My voice is not bad. Now I don't feel, well, everyone feels that my voice ain't being heard or this, that, and the other.
And now you don't even want to talk too much.
But then my money's here though. I've still got a percentage. So I ain't getting all the way out. I ain't like, let's just put in a relationship terms, we got a mortgage together. We got to kind of, you know what I mean? We got to
Can't walk away. It doesn't decide.
But they should have walked away because again, on the main stage, we saw
it looked bad. It looked bad.
And this is the one thing, because we brought it up today on today's show, right? We're saying that Fernandez is the main trainer, right?
I think that's going to be one of those things that turns on his head on fight night, because Garcia is not. He's not he's not a number 2. Do you know what I mean? Fernandez, I don't know what type of relationship him and AJ have, right? And that can sometimes lead the way for how it makes sense. But when things get cracking, experience shines the brightest in the dark, bro. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, no, I want Garcia's voice to be in the if there's crisis, I want Garcia to be the one to lead them out of that.
Saying that though, even though it could be by name, you know, when you're like acting manager, but you're not, because let's say in the press conference, I heard Garcia was the one, but he spoke first when Eddie Hearn wanted to understand what's going on. He said, "Hey, well done for your last fighters that just won." Now let's talk about this. So you could see, I kind of know who the trainer is, but we all need to know who the trainer is on the night. Are you with me? So even if he's like we've empowered someone, but let us all know our roles.
It's that little convo that takes place as they walk into the ring. You know, bro. I remember when I fought, right? I had my dad with me all day, that whole day for that fight, just talking. My trainer Benn shows up, and I remember this conversation just before we got out. As they say, yeah, your fight's up next. I'm getting up and I'm warming up. Guy says to my dad, he's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna corner, and I want you to do the exit. And it was a clear conversation. When the fight was going on, the corner was clean. One person I'm listening to, the stall is coming from here. The water's coming from here. There's no messing around. Clearly, this is not the same level in the pro game. But the clarity says this is where the information is coming from.
Yes. But everyone needs to be aware of their roles, and it can be no space for insecurity in terms of, so it's a hard role. Like, again, Angel's got to be comfortable with the back seat, because a lot of us, just imagine, because we all carry everyone walks around with insecurities, no matter what, right?
That's right.
And some of them, they get realized at funny points in life. Yeah, it was like, shit, it hurts. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. Right? And funny enough, on this journey, we've all had the first argument we've all had was, this is not, I don't like your trainer. I don't like your trainer. Go and find a new trainer. He's not good enough. Yeah. And there's that moment to prove. And funny enough, if we go back to Dillion's trainer, the sports, the conditioning guy. Yeah. Respect him. But let's be honest. Remember, I called out, I said, hey, I called it time ago. I said, this conditioning guy,
it's not really hitting still.
It's not, I'm not sure about this, guys. And what did we see? What did we see? We saw in the garden, we saw that thing he won because he wanted to come on the show to get at me for saying what I was saying.
Yeah, I remember that still. Yeah.
He got the receipts are there, bro. And now
he didn't like how you were talking.
He didn't like how I was talking, but the things that I was saying in terms of him finishing, there was stuff that, because let's say in that first Povetkin one, they almost, you know, when you want to prove something, sometimes when the trainer wants to prove something and it takes away from the fighter, because Dylan should have just taken him out. There was a moment, take him out, it's done, and that's wicked. Yes, it was a good boxing performance, but you put someone with their back against the wall and he hurt you. Yeah, that's the Bavarian one, right? And sometimes with these coaches or these trainers, when their ego gets involved and they can't sit back when they need to sit back, so Angel has to really. Yes, we've said a lot of stuff about you and this, that, and the other, but somebody, your senior's in there. Now, all you have to do in this moment is just learn from him. Learn from him, and you'll become the main voice at one point. By that time right now, is
do you know what it is?
Go ahead.
When these guys get these opportunities, right, and they're in the biggest fight in boxing right now, that's the time to show your showcase. Because now it's like, this might go the way it goes, but I could easily fall into someone else's team if I look like you understand? So there's a lot of moving parts when you look at those dynamics. Yeah.
High stakes. Or we can't play games. We can't play games. Sometimes I know, like, as you said, bro, I know that I've got lead actor capabilities, guaranteed. I know that in myself, right? I'm on productions and it's not my time right now. Are you with me? All I can do, but what am I doing? Oh, I'm watching the lead. All the stuff the lead is doing, I'm taking it in. All the stuff the lead's doing, I'm like, oh, bro, when we stop, I noticed, I'm looking. All I'm doing is taking all this stuff in, because one day, that's me. But the problem is sometimes you try to elevate yourself and say, yo, I know I'm going to be rare, and you mess it up. I know the kid, I know I can do what the man can do. And Angel will probably say, I know as a trainer, I can do that, right?
Not today. It's not your time, bro.
What's at stake? Big man, learn. Being in this corner would be the best education you can get right now. I'm telling you, just be in there, because you get to take that out and use it everywhere after this moment.
Right.
Learn. Everyone has to know their role, bro. In this moment here, because too much this ain't a easy fighter. And that's what I said, there's going to be rounds that don't go the way we need it to go. And sometimes in high pressure situations, everyone speaks. And we saw it in, what was it? Remember when Roach was in the corner? Freddie Roach was in the corner.
Fury, and Davison was there. And
Davison and someone else.
Hatton.
It was a mess.
It was a loaded corner. They were in there. Roach was disagreeing with Ben Davison's advice, and then afterwards he threw him under the bus. No, I thought he should have knocked him out. I thought we should have gone for the knockout. And Ben Davison's like, no. I'm like, yo, that's not the corner you want to come back to after a rough round. You know what I mean? And then when we move to what the fight itself looks like, the in-fight action, like, what I want more than anything is for AJ not to complicate this thing and make it a bigger deal in his head than it has to be. Like, yes, the guy's a very skillful guy. Yes, he's southpaw. But I'm not comfortable when I hear him say, yeah, if he weren't a southpaw, I probably would have beat him anyway. I'm like, all right, I hear that. But you can still beat him. You've beat other southpaws. You've beat men in the amateurs that were southpaw. You've done this before. It's the belief. Do you understand? Because the belief pushes you past your physical attributes sometimes. Like, you look at a fighter like Carl Froch, right? He's not your textbook guy for how you teach children to box. You wouldn't send the child home and say, go and watch Carl Froch versus, was it Jeff Lacey? Yeah. The crazy comeback victory. That's not it. But one thing Carl Froch has,
you'll say your kids to watch Ward, you'll get more.
That's right. The fundamentals and all that stuff. But one thing Carl Froch has is that unhinged mental thing that says, you're not beating me this way.
Never.
I don't care how well it's going right now. When the last seconds of that fight, I'm going to be at full strength in that moment. But you need to make sure you are. You can't teach that type of decisiveness that says, I'm going to have my moment. That's where I want AJ's focus to be. In Klitschko, he showed it. He went down first time in his, first time in his career. Big right hand from Klitschko. Got up. Next round, he was tired, slightly gassed. Said to Klitschko, if you don't knock me out now, I'm going to mash you up. Yeah, that's an unhinged man that's saying, kill me right now. Because if you don't, I'm going to get you. That is someone who's sick. And it's that level of intensity where that's where I want AJ to get back to.
He has it though. Again, AJ, we said that AJ fights like someone that knows he's got money in the bank. He fights like someone that knows he's got a rematch clause. There's no rematch clause, bro. And again, so there's no way, I'm just gonna see you next week. No, bro, your time is now. And I think again, there's respect that like now looking at, because we're quite pro AJ on this platform, right? So it's hard for me to see the disrespect because everyone that I see on the show loves AJ here. So I don't
I see the disrespect on boxing Twitter
all over the place, right? And he's saying to himself, raw, like, imagine everything I've done for this sport. It's mad that it's mad how you lot feel this way about me, right? And don't get it twisted, I do believe that in some spaces that there's there's marks against AJ's name that he's allowed to happen. There's things where you say, oh, that loss was bad. Or again, if I first meet you and then you lose like that, it doesn't, I'm a new fan. I'm trying to know about you. They told me a lot about you from the UK. Is this our king? You know, and you know what I mean? On one of those ones. So I understand it again in the fight in Spurs' arena where I don't even know, it's called White Hart Lane. In a fight there, again, same again. It's like the smaller guy started to look bigger than you, and it's like, wait, so am I again? Not like I've just back to hype job, but I hope I'm right about this. Because again, you were so confident, you were able to put your name on it, but then after at the same point, it's like, raw, like, how am I here like this? AJ, I shouldn't be here like this. This should be a foregone conclusion. We again, as you said, we were talking about the smaller man, and the smaller man dominated. So I understand some of the things that people are saying, but people have gone too far with the disrespect for AJ. And he wants to say that right. And the one thing I'm going to give AJ a lot of ratings, a lot of credit for is he's come out Eddie Hearn's shadow. He had to do it. He had to. That is been probably one of the best things for AJ that was necessary, because yes, you can have a good promoter. And Eddie Hearn, Eddie Hearn doesn't need to be next to a fighter. Like Eddie Hearn could talk about anything now and it's fine, right? But that stepping out of this shadow has been the best thing for him, because now I feel like I know AJ. I feel like I'm clear on his because before we had to wait for Eddie Hearn to tell us what AJ
tell us what AJ thinks.
He'd tell us everything. He'd be like, yeah, and I think now AJ's very clear. He's very clear. You know exactly what the messaging is. He's like, boom, these titles don't mean anything to me, but you lot need to understand, forget the titles, what now? Because I'll punch you up there. That's the energy you're getting from him. You can tell that he's listened in a bit, because he is back amongst the man them. He is in the right space. The mentality is correct. That killer instinct, I feel like I could see that in him now.
I hear that. I definitely hear that. And I think you're right. I think you're right. And I think it has taken this level of disrespect to make him wake up and see that. Do you know what I mean? There's been a lot of different things that have taken place outside of boxing that's turned people against AJ, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? People who are misinformed and committed to staying misinformed have now decided that this is how they feel about AJ now. So now that has now transferred into boxing criticism. Now he's rubbish. He's always been rubbish. He's this and that. He's nothing. And that's where it goes. Do you know what I'm saying? So now it's like, all right, cool then. I don't need to be the darling then. I just need to win. That's it.
You know that. You know this moment. It happens in every entertainer's career, or anyone just in the thing, right? You know when you're in this entertainment game and then you finally realize, oh, you lot are not my friends. There's a moment. Literally, you come in and you want all of these people to be your friends, everybody, right? Like, it's like, oh yeah, there's my friend, oh yeah, like, and stuff. And it's like, no, everyone is fighting to get into the inner room, right? Everyone's trying to get into the inner room, and this works for me to get into the inner room, but I'm not your guy, right? And it's like, you don't realize that again. So sometimes you'll come into it with doe-eyed, with great intentions of building up friendships, like building up we're all friends, and we're all gonna
we're all gonna make it together. We're gonna
make it into the inner room. No. And it's a lesson. He had that first one when he read the speech out. Then he's like, even now leaving Sky, he's starting to like, wait, bro, wait, the people that fought were for me. There was only for me because it was for them. It helped them.
Convenient.
Now it's affiliated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So something is very freeing when you know. Don't get me wrong, because I believe that in this industry, I say for this industry, I have made friends in this industry, but I know exactly who they are. Right? I'm very clear. I know who these people are. I know this is industry. This is my friend.
That's right.
You need that. It's a hard pill to take because you wake up one day and you're like, bro, I'm alone. And then after you start to because AJ was caring about all these other opinions, and you can tell now that his mindset for me, this is how it comes across, is you lot's opinions don't matter, but this certain group, just these friends is all I care about. Right? Like this is the last thing I'll say. When I do stand up, I want to make everyone laugh, but if my friends are in the house, bro, it's different, because I more than care about their opinion. I because that's my thing. Are you understand? Finally, has made that circle so small that you won't go crazy, you won't go out of the lines, because you know what you need to do to impress them, because you talk to these people, and you won't do a mad thing, because we all know a good friend will give you the right information back, bro. Do that, you will be successful. And I'm still gonna be everyone else out here, noise. Everyone else out here, noise. They don't even care about you, big man. Let's go.
That's real.
There's nothing, there's no pressure on my back. But this is it. And that's a free, and that's when you become a dangerous comedian, a dangerous entertainer, dangerous in any field that you're in. When you
100%
learn that. But yeah,
100%. It's empowering. No, it's empowering. Do you know what I mean? I've experienced that shift probably, I'd say, even last couple of years, in fact. Do you know what I mean? That shift where it's like, you know what? If I'm going to do this thing my way, and I'm going to live with whatever comes, that energy there, doors start to open. It starts to get different. Do you know what I mean? You know who your team is, and you see that with AJ now, where it's like, yo, you're moving with and how can I say, what's the word? Where it's like, I'm not here for anything. I'm not actually here for anything. I'm unapologetic. That's the word. If you're rolling, cool. If not, also cool. And that energy for me, I'm like, okay, you split with Rob McCracken, you done it the way you wanted to do it, fine. You went around, shopped around, found a new trainer, you picked this guy who you're cool with him, fine. You're talking how you're talking, and then sometimes you don't even want to talk. Also fine. Sticking it on my man for being disrespectful. You know the cameras are going to be out. Brother, don't talk to me like that. I don't care about all of this stuff. Don't talk to me like that. This is a different AJ. Now, going into the fight, bringing this back to specific boxing, you're going to be in there with a tricky guy. And I think AJ now is like, do you know what? It's a fight. And that's the mindset I wanted him to just have in the beginning, where it's like, oh, it's a fight. Do you know what I mean? I can make it about all these other things and all these things saying, and Tyson Fury's in the background trying his best to get a rise. He is trying his best to get a rise, bro. Because he knows he's the one that set the narrative that he's just he's a bodybuilder. He's just a weightlifter. He can't box. He can't do this. AJ heard that, latched onto it, and thought, all right, I'll show you I can box. Now he's over there. I'm retiring. I'm doing this. Yeah, I'll throw the ring belt over there because as a nice little dummy move. Not the WBC though. I'm gonna throw this one over there, slide that over there, just so you can think, oh shit, he's really gone. I want to rise. I want attention.
And yes, and that belt that you have, it's mine. Imagine that, because again, Fury's still clever, right?
Yeah.
His thing is, I need to. He's preparing. He's always preparing for the next person, right? Always. Not Usyk though, which is we will talk about that at another point. But he's always preparing for the guy he believes is next, right? And you saw with the Mexico gum shield when Bingos were called Ruiz, because again, he doesn't mind the easier option. That's one thing about him. He does not mind, because you got to ask yourself, where's the Ukraine gum shield? Where's all that? It's not there, because again, this is not really what you want. But anyway, he said, you know what? Quickly, AJ, have my belt, because even in Fury, fighters know. Fury knows AJ can win that. Fury knows AJ can win that, because you can just see a different. He knows sometimes when these two people,
and he gets to say, "You've only got that belt because I gave it up."
I gave it up. You're walking around with something that actually belongs to me, mate. And let's be honest, let's be honest, all those belts, when we deep it, they're mine. You know what I mean? Like when he that's who he is.
What he's setting up.
He has to play those psychological games. And this whole week has been a look at me, everybody, look at me. But it's a psychological game because again, he does want something. And Wilder's done the same. Wilder announced the comeback when AJ's getting busy. When AJ's getting busy, because these men have done this skill and this trick for the last how many years in this trilogy that they had?
They've done this freeze out AJ business. He's like, let's just fight 3 times. He could have been. The maddest thing is, Fury and AJ could have fought by now.
Yeah, so long ago.
Would have been done.
But then, as the point you're making, now AJ isn't caring about Fury. He isn't focused on Fury. The conversation hasn't even been, well, after this is Fury. Yes, us fans, we talk about that. His main thing is this man, right? His main thing is Usyk. Every month, Usyk, 3 times. Well, he's not even thinking about the belts. I just want to be up Usyk, you know?
Yeah.
I always think it's unnerving for me when I watch a fighter watch a loss, and you can tell I'm going to get that right. When we saw him sitting with Savage Dan, he's like, yeah, I know what to do. You know, when they go back their own thing, and it's like, oh, you've accepted now. You're not in place. You're not in that place like Taylor Castro, where Taylor's still telling himself, "Now one." He's not there. It's like, I've broken down what's wrong and what's right. Watch this. And different fighter, someone you should be worried about.
That's facts. That's very real. And I'm optimistic because of the things I've seen. It's not blind optimism that I'm going into this. I'm optimistic because of the things I've seen. I still respect what Usyk is, and I don't think we've necessarily seen all of what Usyk is just yet. However, one thing I do know is that there are weight classes for a reason, and when you come up in weight, there are certain things that you're supposed to look out for. The problem with AJ just didn't make him really see. He didn't make him see what he needed to. Yeah, I mean, have to introduce man to the heavyweight top flight league. Yeah, I mean, so for me,
that's Usyk's skill, though. I say a lot of Usyk's skill comes into why AJ couldn't really introduce him to the heavyweight division. That's how I.
And also the bad mindset and game plan.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? But my final prediction on this is AJ KO. I don't know when. I'd like to say early. I'd like it to be early. I think that's the best time for it to happen. That way there's no stamina concerns. There's no reason why he has to take his foot off the gas. Do you know what I mean? Because Usyk is someone who I imagine if he was ever in danger, he'd know how to survive. So you have to get him out of there just quickly and decisively. Now, in regards to Usyk's chances, he's got good chances in this thing. He could come out and just replicate the first performance, and that might be enough. But I believe this time will be different.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going with between round 6 and 7. I think that's when it happens. I think that's just that feels right to me. Anything over that, when we get into 8, 9, I start to get nervous and start to worry for AJ. I don't want to see him in those rounds when the lactic acid build up and all. I just don't want that when things get stiff. And again, it's a new corner. We said it before. We said it when Amir Khan was fighting. When it's like, I know I've never been to war with you, so you don't know me and I don't know you, and I'm not him. You know what I mean? I'm not that fighter where that thing works, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a lot. Like we really have to. You have to pray that their camp was a deep one. You have to pray bad things happen in the camp where he's had to shake him up. But you have to hope. Everything, you know, when you say the wrong things have to happen to know how we deal with them.
How we're gonna do, yeah.
So you hope that a lot of wrong things in the build-up help them get over the getting to know you phase, because we haven't got time. When we get in, we ain't got time for that.
Apparently, he had a minimum of 13 sparring partners. I saw an interview KD did. He said he was knocking out some of them men as well.
Good.
When they asked AJ about that, he goes, "Yeah, that's sparring, innit? That's why I don't talk about all that stuff." It's like, yeah, that's that. Good. For me, that felt like a good sign. That don't even talk about what he did in sparring.
Yeah, but you won't hear about the bad days in sparring where someone
but when the good days they don't need positive, they don't need no energy.
Okay.
He's been at this level before. I'm not gonna get excited over the sparring. I've done that before. It was good, cool. But Saturday's where it matters, and I'm like, that's real.
I hear what you're saying, yeah, but even if I bring it back to football right now, Man United had one of the best preseasons ever. Yeah, so there's no warning signs. There's no telltale signs. Shit was gonna happen. Are you with me?
But at the same time, if them men were getting gassed by the preseason, that's when the shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But in fact, AJ's just like, listen, I don't talk about that. Sparring, it don't matter.
Big point.
That is where it counts.
That's a big point.
That tells the focus is in the right place.
The thing was, but the point that I was making, while I agree with that, right? The point I was making is the manager didn't realize, oh, I don't know you lot. You know what I mean? He learned them. He learned them in his last 2 games. It's like, oh, but it's like it's almost too late in a sense. And I'm saying, raw, like finally learning someone on the night. We don't get no do-overs. You don't get to press the replay button and stuff, or just sim it, or you have to. It's gonna go this way. But
the safety in that is that Garcia is an experienced man.
Yes.
He's been at world level before. Yeah. He's not it's not his first rodeo. So anything he's seen won't be the first time. So that's the comfort bit in that. Yeah. But I think that might be enough for AJ.
Yeah, we done that. We done that.
Benn Eubank, the press conference dropped, bro.
We were right.
We were so right. We knew how the energy was going to be in that press conference, bro. One
angry, another one arrogant. Yeah, angry versus arrogance, and arrogance will always make angry look stupid.
Yeah.
Because arrogance comes across as calm and assured and in control. Angry, don't get me wrong, you're angry in it, so it's like
it's coming across triggered.
It's coming across triggered, but don't buy into the hype, because again, Khan was calm. He was laughing.
He was very arrogant.
You know what I mean, well done. And there was someone inside seething for years of I've dealt with your family, and now you're trying that with me, because let's be honest, it was a lot like parliamentary. Let's have some parliamentary.
The bit where Eubank is standing on the little podium thing, and he's kind of just straight facing forward, and Connor's just looking at him like, yeah, I love the smugness. Yeah, like he's buying it, and Eubank's just. I'm like,
50% is all it takes.
These men really are the marks of their dads. It's so mad to see the mannerisms play out in the different generation. It's mad.
It's incredible. I even I posted this thing that I saw on Instagram. It's Tiger Woods' son.
And
I saw that. They've watched, because some people like, well, when the area they'll tell their kids, their babies, it wouldn't have meant nothing to them. No, they've seen it, and they've inherited the feelings.
They've lived
it. So this is big, and this is why I said this fight. I'm so excited, and I understand why it got sold out so quickly, and I understand all these parts and all these elements to this fight, right? But there's a problem, because there's a level of derailment that happens to the winner and loser, right? We saw it, and Khan is always the perfect thing, because the Khan and Brook rivalry is a real one. It was so real for such a long time. It was a rivalry, and it was a funny rivalry because we never got to see it, but we knew that it was obsession. It was obsession from Brook's part. Khan was still thinking about him, but he's like, nah, you're not my level. But there was something there. Khan couldn't pretend he wasn't there, right? And they finally get to meet. Now, what happens when Khan lost? He didn't know what to do with himself. We had a retirement, out of retirement. We had all sorts, because he's like, I can't sleep knowing this guy is beating me. And now this guy is, you can tell this. Now you see Kell Brook, he's walking around. You played around with that thing saying you can't inherit someone's right? But he walks around with a thing of it's done. He walks around. When I look him at fights, it's like nothing's to prove. I told you I was better than him. He's at peace.
The problem is with that is that it's just a short-sighted view of what you consider success. Because however which way you dice it, Amir Khan has had the much more decorated career than Brook.
I
Fair
understand,
enough, he didn't win the matchup, but the fact is, his career took him to higher heights.
I understand that, but we're so silly. Go on. Let me,
just to say, it's a just a symbol of the fact that you wasted a lot of your career focusing on him, whilst he focused on the success and the higher heights. So when I look at Brook, I'm like, I'm glad you got that. I'm glad you got that to make up for the fact you didn't get other things.
But then now I'm gonna the where I'm gonna talk to you about human nature in this moment, right? And you've seen it, and you see it in shows everywhere, right? You can achieve a lot of things, but that one person, either the one person that wasn't laughing or the person, see, let's say you get a lot of love, and there's that person that abuses you or gives you the negative comment. You remember the negative comment. The negative comments, even in life, loads of people said amazing things to you, a lot, like all through your life, but all those negative comments, they're here with you. And unfortunately for a lot of us humans, right, we do this thing where we focus on the things that we're not meant to be focused on. And I know that the loser of this fight, has to still be at peace with it going that way. So maybe Conor can tell himself, well, it's bigger than me, it's okay, but it's going to be hard for him just because he's got so much of his dad in him, and he knows what this defeat has done to his dad. But on the flip side is, and they both keep talking about their dads and their shadows and this, that, and the other. For Eubank, now it's like, I'm saying I'm just as good. I'm saying I'm finally out my dad's shadow, but you couldn't even replicate what my dad did against a smaller version of his opponent. How?
It's
so
tough.
now and that's what I talk about. There's a level of, and that's why it makes it interesting for the fan, right? Because they're both putting it on the line. It will derail someone's career a little bit. We don't know how far though.
You also have to remember, it's like I was talking about this with my family group chat. Talking about this with my dad, talking about this with my mom, and like my dad, he's more of the thing where it's like, I think I might have said it last episode. If I did,
you're talking to me on the phone.
Okay, and he was very much like, I look at this from a dad's position in terms of, I want them both to do well. I don't want them to cancel each other out. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're both sons of legends that, I respect, and it's like they're gonna, like, how does he come back from this? Conor Benn doesn't need this. Do you know what I mean? Eubank doesn't. They don't need to do this. It doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, he's hung up on that. A lot of people are. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like, but why though? Do you know what I mean? And I've brought into the narrative of, but their dad, and I'm like, they grew up with it though. Like they saw their dad go through it because of this man. And now his son is in this thing. You can see how it can go. I've got my own version of that in comedy, my mom's experiences. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's certain doors I need to get through because of little things that have played out. It is one of those things, you do inherit that. On my mom's reaction to it, she goes, it's not their beef though. They don't have a beef with each other. Do you know what I mean? And I was watching it, I was like, when you watch it in the press conference, these two men don't hate each other yet. You see what I'm saying? Like,
October said that she was sitting there and...
No, I'm not saying it's a performance. I'm not saying it's a pantomime. But what I'm saying is the genuine hate is not there yet. They've been around each other before, and it's not flared up. They've had little moments where it's been a bit touchy, and it's just like, Conor Benn, they might have he's rubbed Conor wrong and Conor's thrown away, but it's not like I need this fight. Do you understand? It's not there yet. It's gonna build because now it's happening. They're gonna build up to that. The artificial beef that's gonna create because that's my opponent. But I got the sense that whilst this rivalry, because it's bigger enough, the family name, it's not you and me beef. It's beef that we subscribe to. I've latched onto this beef. You've latched on your side, so it's gonna come. And I'm waiting for the next level because I like the early jostle. The chess, the mind games and stuff. I'm like, when I watched how Eubank was playing it, I was like, I could see myself playing it in a similar way. Like I did a live with how it was going on. But it's one of them ones where it's like, I don't feel the hate yet.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's gonna come.
I think the hate just, again, it'll come. It will take some disrespect because the dads are gonna sit down. Again, the zone, you're doing a hell of a job. Yeah. Hell of work already in terms of with the clips are clipping. Like
one last thing.
Go on.
Eubank Sr., he's gonna miss, right? Eubank Jr. said, I want my dad in my corner. He's had no response since the fight was announced. Let's deep dive on that. Eubank Sr. said to him, Eubank Jr.'s quote, I'm quoting Eubank Jr. on this. He said, don't do it now, do it in a year's time, and then do it in a stadium. Eubank Jr. said, that's what Eubank Jr. said that his dad said.
Oh, wow.
So he said, no, I want to do it now. And then the guy goes, I don't know if it was October, or one of the reporters said, why do you want to have the rush? And he goes, because anything can happen. You can have a World War III, a disease, or COVID, like anything can happen. Let's do it now. I heard that. I thought, okay, cool. Then you start to look at the terms of the contract, and now you start to understand maybe why Senior is silent. Because he's looking at this thinking, you signed a horrific contract. You've agreed to drop 3 pounds of weight from a weight that you are so naturally built for. You're actually too tight. You're tight at the weight. There's nothing on you at 160. You've agreed to drop 3 pounds. You've then also agreed to not rehydrate more than 5 pounds. Otherwise, it's £100,000 fine per pound. That is a wild contract for a middleweight.
And one thing we can say about Eubank, and you got to give Senior all the credit, is Eubank has gone from place to place and he's never been tied down. The only way he's done that is because them contracts have been looked over stringently. Usually some fighters are stuck. You've seen him. Some fighters are stuck. He has never been stuck. You know, do you know how mad it is to say Eubank has never been caught somewhere? Why? Because his dad's taught him everything he needs to know. But then there was a moment. Again, we always go back to Vegas and we spoke about, talk to me about your kids and the decisions they're making. And he said, remember, he done the parable. He done the Jamaican parable.
Yeah, I remember.
Go on, you can give it to her.
If you're not here, you're gonna feel. So,
just like that. Just like that. And he kept it moving. And sometimes you got to say, you're right. And I missed this. This went over my head. He can't be happy about this for many reasons. Because again, the contract doesn't make sense. And I know the funny thing is why it was crazy is because Eubank Jr. has become the leader of his life, right? So while I hear what my dad's saying, I don't have to listen.
The final say.
I have the final say. But now with me having the final say, there's little stupid mistakes I can make because, again, I told you, Eubank Jr. is his eye is on the bag. His eye is not on titles, legacy, all the other stuff. His eye is purely on the bag.
He called out Jake Paul literally 2 weeks ago, bro.
Jake, I'm telling you, remember, didn't I tell you that? I said it before. I said, I'm telling you now, Jake Paul is the name that he wants. However, he's caught up in he's looking a bit funny. Remember, in that Jake Paul call out and stuff, Connor's like, big man, like, you ain't seeing to contracts. You can't even finish this one. And I know Jake feels a certain way anyway about fighting people because they're not showing up. So he said, remember telling Jake, listen, Jake, I'm different. I finish what I say I'm gonna do. Right?
He's like, brother, finish the contract then.
Do it there. Show me against him.
That's right.
The next fight that if Eubank wins this one, the next fight he has is Jake Paul. It's bigger than because Jake Paul likes it because it's bigger than the KSI fight, even though KSI is probably more safer for not probably. It's safer for Jake, right? But however, I know that Jake wants to announce himself to real boxing properly. And there's who better than that guy who will sell it just as good. Again, remember, Jake can see sold out. Eddie Hearn, he's looking at all these things. It's not far from him. So he's like, raw, okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? And this is why some contracts get signed, because when you're in the thing of chasing for the bag, you'll do mad things. And that he's done it is a bit crazy, and that's probably why we won't. And
the thing is what, because like on the behind the scenes video that Matchroom put out, Conor Benn is sitting and listening to Eubank do the interview. And Eubank saying, I'm at a disadvantage. And And Eubank Conor's sitting there going, you offered us the weight. We agreed to it. We just made sure that you stick to it. That's why they would have jumped on that saying 157. All right, let's do that then. But if you don't stick to that, £100,000 to be like, let's iron you into that so you stay at that. But the fact that they offered it suggests, you greenlit this move. Unless his handlers are crazy.
I know he's greenlit, but he needed this thing again. What is waiting for him is mega money. Everyone is calling out these YouTubers, and unfortunately, not even unfortunately, the Paul brothers are stars. You got one doing WWE,
And he's
confident,
looking good in the WWE, you
and
know.
he's good at it. So again, the eyes. Again, we're talking about a digital era and eyes, and everyone caring about content and this, that, and the other. You're official. Whoever gets up by Jake Paul next in terms of in boxing is official. It's official. Like it's done. The UFC man then realized it early and they said, let me get a quick part of that bag. And now it's changed. Now the UFC man them can't really shout it out anymore. And Dana don't even want that man looking stupid no more. All the boxing man them have said, raw. We don't even look bad calling him out no more because he even had that day where he was a promoter and he's here now. It's in like, so I understand why Eubank's done it. I don't know.
He's not executing this in the wisest way. That's all I would say on that one. He's not executed this in the wisest way at all. I think the problem with arrogant people is they can be spun very, very easily. Do you understand? When the ego is large in someone, he's the easiest person to twang. Because if you can sell the image where you get to look amazing in this deal here, oh, I'm taking it. I'm rolling. And that's what I think we've got. That's what's happened here.
Well, they both said something. This was a little Freudian slip, I would say, or maybe more on Eubank's side. He mentioned this bit about being delusional, yeah? And we've spoken about delusion and, you know, delusional grandeur, right? And it's something that you can put on this fighter. And that some people argue that, well, Conor's not done nothing to talk the way he talks. So there's some delusion there as well, and that's what Eubank brings up. It's like, what have you done? Like that you sound like this. Like, I don't know why you're talking like you're a killer. Like you haven't done anything here. So it's a bit funny that you actually think you can beat me.
For me, I have a different view on delusion when it comes to these two fighters.
Okay.
I say Eubank Jr. is the more deluded one because of his consistent observations of things that we can all see.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Eubank Jr. sees the world through very different lenses.
Yeah.
Where Conor Benn is on the way up in his career in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So when he's talking about the guys he wants to fight, the things he wants to do, he's still on the footsteps towards these things, right? With Eubank Jr., I was going to knock him out. I just didn't want to. I would have done this thing, but I didn't feel like it. I just wanted to do this instead. Yes, I've said I wanted to do all these things, but every single time it's different. Like, bro, the Korobov fight. Yeah, you know, I was just working my way in there. I'm like, bro, you lost all those rounds, it looked like to me. But in your opinion, that won't happen. So for me, Eubank sees the world through different lenses.
Agreed. But this is now like, because sometimes, while I understand that, but you know,
and he's 32.
Yeah, you. So you know, you talk about that hindsight being like, hindsight 2020, right? This move to ask to fight, because I get what you're saying. Conor Benn right now is without blemish, almost in a sense, yeah. But this move, if he loses to fight Conor Benn, to fight Eubank, would have been a delusional move. It doesn't work if it doesn't go his way, because he's like, why did you try and fight someone that I get your dad? I get like that was stupid. You know what I mean? Now he looks fine because nothing's happened yet. But at the end of it, you're gonna say that was really deluded what you tried to do. Like even in the comments, everyone says Eubank's gonna win it. Everyone. When I talk,
he's the favorite as well. The odds
favorite, everyone's saying it. So it almost feels like a delusional decision to call out my man and say, let's get in the ring and I'm gonna beat you.
But given how Conor is and what we know of Conor thus far, if he loses, he goes back to the plan in the 147 division and goes into that one. But trust me, he's calling out Eubank Jr. down the line. Oh, he's not letting this go.
Oh no.
If that happens, that he loses, I promise you that rematch takes place again.
Yeah, but
the thing is, and my thing about my fascination with Eubank saying wait a year. Wait a year for what? Because the only thing you could be waiting a year for is for Conor to become a bigger star. Because Eubank Jr. isn't taking the steps to become a bigger star.
Are you not taking in that? Because we even though the beginning of his career has been somewhat left undesired, right? But he's actually listening to a trainer. He's actually listening.
That should not be groundbreaking in a fighter's journey, unfortunately. So when we're saying, he's finally found a trainer, I'm like, do you know how crazy this sounds for somebody involved in professional sport?
It's not celebrating someone making weight.
Bro, who in what other sport do these guys at a top level just train themselves? That is the delusion that I'm speaking about when I'm like, no, Eubank Jr. is different. He'll go hit his pad machine and say he's ready to fight now. Like, I mean, I know there's some sparring in there as well, but it's like, it's one of the ones you look at and think to yourself, you've wasted a lot of time, actually, unfortunately. And it's frustrating for me because as much as I sound like I'm criticizing him, I'm a fan. I want him to do well. Do you understand? This might be the rub off of the fact I'm such a fan of his dad. To where I'm like, no, I want you to succeed. I want you to hold a world title before your thing is done. Just so you can be like, when people talk about you in the future, world champ. You understand? The IBO is not going to hold like that. As much as, it says 2-time IBO in his bio online, I'm like, yeah, that don't really feel like the belt to be doing that with. But he does. And again, it's that thing of like, but Junior sees it how he sees it versus how everyone sees it. And that's why I say the delusion's a bit stronger in him. But at the same time, we can't underestimate. He's still, he's still a very durable opponent in there.
Durable, man. We'll be talking about this for a while. You already know we got the next time we're podding, we'll know who the champion is. We'll know who the heavyweight champion is, and we'll know what's next.
We'll be live on Saturday night, though, guys.
Yeah.
Watch the fight with us as a watch-along thing.
Fight with us. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Again, excitement ahead, bro. Big up yourself. Happy birthday.
Thank you, brother.
Come on, man. You're doing great things. I'm incredibly proud of you. Every move you're making, bro, I'm smiling, bro. So big up to you, fam. This has been a super year for you, bro. So big up, man. I hope next year is going to be even better. So yeah, big up. That's my message to you, bro.
Amen. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that,
man. You lot, you know what to do. Has this audio journey been biased? Yes, it has, and we love that. So look after yourself. Till next time, we're out. Peace. Yo, people, thanks for watching the Undefeated podcast. Make sure you
like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and all that good stuff, man. This is the place to be.